go.
Hey, fourth graders, today I want to start off by just celebrating the progress that we've made already. I mean, if you think back to what you were doing in second and third grade, you probably would have thought that a story about a kid that climbs a hill and rolls down to the bottom would be a good story. And as you've learned, there's so much more that goes into making a good story. So bravo, great job, everybody. Today we're going to really focus on making believable characters. Now, it's not enough to just say there was a boy named Jimmy, or enough to say she was nice. Okay, we want to build characters that, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, but we want our audience to feel like they know them, like it could be their friend or their mom or their grandma or grandpa, someone that they can relate to. Your character needs to have a personality. We need to kind of be able to close our eyes and imagine what they might look like. How are they dressed? What's their appearance? Do they have swag? Yes, people, I just said swag. Swag is still a thing in 2020. I want you guys to be careful because when we get into planning stories, there is a temptation to think about events that are going to happen and the action and the meat of the story. And yes, that is probably the best part of the story. But you cannot start doing all of these things and having characters have problems until we get to meet the character, know the character. And like I said, feel like we have a connection with them. So today we're going to be thinking about our character and how we build them. I want to give you the analogy of one of my favorite video games. I love Madden. Okay, when you get onto the customized player mode, there's lots of things that you can edit the character. You can edit how hard they throw, their accuracy, their strength, their toughness, their ability to juke. That's kind of what we're doing with our characters today. We're thinking about what kinds of things do I want to build my character into. So today, we're going to focus on building that character. Right now as a class, we're going to pause and look at this list right here. And we're going to talk about which one of these would you want to be labeled as. Are some of these good? Are some of these traits maybe things that you wouldn't want to be called? So go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so I hope you guys had a good discussion. This is my T-chart, and I split it into two sections. One is the outside features, which we'll do a little bit later, but right now I'm focusing on inside features. I picked 3 things that are really important for my character. One trait that I picked is that he's hardworking. Notice if you look back on that page, there wasn't the word hardworking, it was actually determined, but they mean the same thing. They're called synonyms. And the reason that this is so important is that Trey starts out in the story not being a very good basketball player, and he has to work twice as hard as the other kids. He has to wake up early in the morning and shoot baskets. He has to go train every single day. He does cone drills. These are all things that make us root for the character. The second thing, and it's not necessarily a super positive trait, but he's always doubting himself. He lacks confidence. And this is something that makes you really relate to the character because you want him to do well, because there's people that used to tease him about not being very good and that he shouldn't even try out because this is a sport for people that actually know how to play basketball. You're going to find yourself rooting for this character. The last trait that I picked is that he cares for others. And the reason this is important is because I want my audience to like him. Because if he's a jerk, nobody's going to root for him and they're going to hope he gets cut from the team. We want our audience to like our characters. Now that you've had a chance to see me demonstrate on my piece of paper, I want you to pick 3 or 4 traits that describe your character. These traits need to be well thought out. Don't just pick 3 because you're like, I know what they mean. I want you to really think what traits are important for the audience to know in order to like them better or at least understand them better. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes and we will pause the video. Now that you've talked a little bit about what your character's like on the inside, we need to now focus on the external features of your character. A lot of times this gets overlooked in good storytelling because we just go, the boy was tall, the boy was short, the girl was tall, she was nice. These are things we want to avoid if we're going to be good authors. Now, let me give you an example. This last time I made a video, I talked about how there's a basketball player that really wanted to make the team. Well, what would be really important for their external appearance would be like basketball shorts or the fact that maybe he's carrying a ball with him. These are things that we see on the outside. Maybe he has a Chicago Bulls hat. Now that we picked our inside traits, we want to talk about external features, and this helps us picture what the character looks like. I started with the pretty simple one. He's short and he has dark brown hair. This just helps the reader picture what he looks like. Now the second one also describes like his appearance, but it tells us a little bit more about the character. He's wearing shorts, he's got a hoodie, he's got Nike shoes and Jordans. This tells me that he's an athlete, and the fact that he's wearing Jordans gives me an indication that he probably is a big-time basketball player. And if you hadn't already guessed, you would know by number 3 that he's a basketball player, because he's always walking around with the ball in his hands. And this is going to be important in the story. This is going to tell us just how in love this person really is with basketball. Thank you, writers, so much for watching, and I hope you guys have fun designing your characters. Peace.
Here we go.